All right, guys. I just finished eating egg, sausage, and bacon casserole with cheese, home fries, and waffles. And I'm about to pinch a loaf. But before I do that, I want to talk about this movie because the movie is kind of reminiscent of the loaf that I'm about to pinch. So I want to talk about it. This movie, I wasn't excited for the movie. I had that little feeling of, a good sci-fi fantasy action film and hoping it would be good. I guess I had a little twinge of excitement, because, who doesn't like a good long sci-fi action fantasy flick? But it's a Netflix production. Zack Snyder's doing it. And we all know that Zack Snyder likes slobbing the knob of rich executives. That's the only reason that I think he would be getting jobs, is that he's slobbing the knob, gargling the semen. So, of course, I don't promote Netflix. I don't pay for Netflix, so I had to wait to find this for free somewhere. I was able to find it for free. I gave it a watch, and dude, I it's crazy that these in certain industries, especially the television industry and the film industry, especially the film industry, you can make like one good thing or one great thing and then just ride the coattails of that until you die. At least some people, not everybody, but some people like Zack Snyder. That's why I say that he slobs the knob. He's got to be riding the baloney pony because there is no way that this guy would still get work and contracts. He made 300. 300 was a great movie. His style worked for that movie perfectly. Everything came together perfectly for that movie. He made Watchmen. Watchmen was boring. Watchmen was made incorrectly. He didn't know how to change his style to make Watchmen what it needed to be. So Watchmen was boring. Watchmen wasn't horrible. I won't even say it was bad, but it was boring. It was uninspiring, and it's not something I own it, but it's not, and I own it because of my love for the graphic novel. Really, it's not a film I watch often. It's not really good. Then he went on. I think after that, I think his next movie was Sucker Punch, which was garbage. The only reason I watched that is because Emily Browning was in it, and Emily Browning is to me one of the hottest human beings to have ever been born on the planet. And so I watched the whole movie just because I like looking at her. But other than that, the movie was garbage. And then he went on to his DC films, and he failed at Superman. He failed at Batman v Superman. He failed at Justice League. He just failed at everything. And then Netflix reaches out to him and say, "Hey, you want a contract? You make garbage. You're a failure, but we want to give you a contract." To me, that means that he knows the right people or he's fucking the right people. Because I don't understand what other reason would there be why you would pay Zack Snyder any money. Shit, you could pay an unknown person and get better results than hiring Zack Snyder, and the unknown person would be a lot cheaper. So I don't get it at this point. That zombie movie he made, uninspiring and boring and forgettable. Then this comes out. So it's Zack Snyder. At this point, regular, normal, sane people know that it's going to be garbage. You watch it just for shits and giggles. If you're smart like me and watch it for free and don't pay for it, then why not? If you got nothing better to do. So, movie starts up. I don't even know where to begin on this. The movie itself was, again, boring. It's a boring movie. I just made a review of the Spider-Man Miles Morales movie, the newest one. And in that review, I talked about there being too much comedy in the movie, too much humor. But I made a point to say that movies do need humor and they do need comedy, and I want that in my movies. But I want the movie to have a comedy when it needs to be in there, and then that needs to be balanced out, especially on the type of movie, with some sort of stakes, some sort of tension, some sort of seriousness, some sort of dialogue, and then watching this movie, I was like, well, this movie got no humor. I mean, this shit was it was just plain boring. This was a boring film from start to finish. I think at one point, one person attempted to make one joke, and that failed. Didn't even realize he was trying to make a joke until he like smiled, and I was like, oh, is he trying to make a joke? Is there a joke in the film? So the movie was it was boring. The movie was uninspired. Actors didn't do great. Sometimes with these stories, the movie looks great, the actors do great jobs, but the story is just so horrendous that it makes the movie bad, and that's normally what I talk about. But in this, the actors they didn't do bad jobs, but they didn't do great. There was nothing that stood out to me. A lot of it was the writers. What's that guy's name? Charlie Hunnam, the guy from fucking Sons of Anarchy and Pacific Rim. I think that's his name, Charlie Hunnam, blonde guy. He, other than him becoming a traitor at the end, I didn't. I did it. The question I get to, I'm wondering, why do you cast these people? Because you have to pay them a certain amount based on their body of work. So why not cast unknowns? I mean, these people in here, you didn't even really utilize them properly. You didn't even give them good, decent lines. It was like, are they just in here just to be a face? So that money that was spent on those people could have been used to probably make the film look better. Because the film didn't look great. It didn't look bad, but it didn't look great. And I'm not that type of person that needs super special effects. If a movie doesn't look great, if the story's good and it's a good film, it's a good piece of film, I don't care about that. I'm not going to pay attention to that. You've given me a good story and a good film. The story is the meat and potatoes of the whole thing. That's the most important part. So if it doesn't look that great, well, it's not that important. But this didn't have a good story. It was boring. It was uninspired. And it didn't look great. It looked like I was watching a sci-fi channel film with slightly better graphics, slightly better effects. Stupid things are happening in the movie. I write these stories, and because they don't have an imagination or any real skill, story writing skill. You don't care about what happens to nobody in the movie. I didn't care about what happened to anybody. At one point, they contact this like rebel or resistance leader, and the resistance leader decides to join them, and so he wants to bring some of his resistance soldiers along with him. So he gives like this little heartening speech to try to rally some of his troops, and the music is playing and the music is swelling. And I don't give a fuck. I don't know these characters. You literally just introduced me to this man and to these soldiers. So the speech that he's giving, the music, that's misplaced because I don't care about these people. I don't know them. So you're wasting your time. You're not writing this properly. You're putting things where they don't belong. And that's pretty much the whole movie. I don't know these characters, so you're trying to make me care about certain things. I don't care. I don't care about these villagers who are being attacked by this empire or this army because I don't know them. I don't, and even by the end of the movie, I still don't know the villagers. So why would I care about what happens? Other than I'm just sitting there with my dick in my hand, watching TV to distract myself. I mean, Jesus Christ, I don't care about these people because you didn't take the time to let me know them or to get to know them. So let me pull up my list because start making lists with these things. So I'm just gonna go down the list of stupid things that just started in the movie, or the stupid things in the movie. Period. So the movie basically starts off showing this little village, a farming village, and this big great army comes down to the farming village and tells them that they want their food. Give us your food so I can feed my soldiers. Why? This I can't even call this a village. It looked like a block, like a city block of people who farmed some grain. I mean, the people weren't like overweight or in super great shape or anything, so they didn't have that much food. So, I mean, they had enough to a little bit of a surplus to sell to other people, but not by much. I mean, they weren't a rich village. It's not like this was a farming community that made so much food and had so much produce and had such a great harvest that they sold and they used that money to build up their own community. This was like a poor village. They had nothing. They lived in wooden shacks. Why would this well-equipped army go to some little village and say, give me your food? You don't have food? You have to come to this place. So that it just started off stupid because that didn't make any sense to me. So I'm instead of me feeling sympathy for these people and recognizing this threat, I'm just sitting back watching like, oh, okay, so this is just being written in the big guy versus the little guy. You know, this is cliche. We've seen this. I mean, damn. We've seen this for what has it been? How long has film been a thing? We've 1,000 years. I'm just kidding. 100 years. We've seen this for over a century. The big guy picking on the little guy. Okay, so I guess you're just writing that in to pull the emotion out of me that I should be scared, or I should be fearful for these people. I should feel sympathy for them, and I should also fear this army. They're supposed to be the bad guys. I didn't get any of that because this story is the reason that all this stuff is happening just didn't make sense to me. So instead of this being like a well-established army, it's just like a bunch of bullies that waste gas to go to different planets to steal a couple bags of grain from people. It's like it didn't make sense. We came here to steal. We're going to give you 3 times what it's worth. We just came here just because we can. Now, I think they came there for some information, I think. Because like I'm not really paying attention because already I'm kind of bored. And, so I think they came there for some information, and then they tried to just flex their muscle by telling them we're going to buy some food off you, give us your food. And if we don't, we're going to beat you to death with a stick. All right, so we've established that they're the bad guys. So the bad guys come, and they're the bad guys, and the bad guys leave, and the bad guys leave a little group of bad guys there to watch the food that the bad guys want to pick up after it's harvested. So you got a bunch of bad guys that were left behind. It's like a small platoon of men. And then the writing just gets dumber and dumber. So then within the platoon of men, you have the cliche one guy who is just a really bad guy, and he just does bad shit just to do bad shit. So he's just being dumb and just picking on people just for no fucking reason. And then the commander who is there to watch over everyone, he's not stopping it or reining it in. This guy's just doing this right in front of his commander. This is a military force. They don't have any sort of structure. These guys don't have any sort of rules in place to kind of rein stuff like this in. I mean, why would this guy let one of his soldiers rile up the village? Then the village may decide to attack you because you're picking on the women within the village. So you don't want that to happen. You want this to be a smooth transition where you're there to make sure that the food gets planted and harvested. You collect the food, they come pick you up, and your job is done. Are you trying to just wipe the people out? If you wipe the people out because you're just trying to be the bad guys, then who's going to grow and harvest the food? So why would this commander just let this guy go off the handle like that? Then these people have this, what looks to be very expensive military equipment. It's a fucking robot that has a soul or a conscience or something. And it's there to perform labor, manual labor. But the crazy bad soldier guy is like shooting the robot? Why would you shoot your own equipment? It would be like the United States military invades Iran, and they have this very powerful tank that they use to drive around and knock down built structures or something like that. And one of the soldiers is like shooting missiles at the tank, and the commander just letting him do it, not saying anything. We just wrote this in to make the people look bad because we want to show villains, and we want you to know that these people are bad and you should not like them. Okay, there's other ways to write that where we get it. This guy's just doing nonsensical juvenile teenager shit. This is supposed to be a platoon of soldiers on it doing a job. So I didn't like that. That just didn't make any sense to me. Why is he shooting at the robot? It's not like they have a whole bunch of robots. They only got the one robot. So the soldiers are being reckless. They're destroying their own equipment. So after that happens, the soldiers then get too rambunctious and decide they're gonna rape some girl again. Instead of trying to make things go smoothly, you're gonna try to rape the women in the village so that the people who outnumber you may revolt and try to fight you and may either kill you or force you to kill them, which means your mission failed. So they decide to rape this girl, and then, the heroine steps in, Sophia Butella. Sophia Butella? I forget her name. I think it's Butella. Sophia. So Sophia comes in. She starts kicking ass. She takes out a notepad. She starts taking names. And fine, whatever. It's an action movie. We've seen that done before, where the smaller person's beat up the bit. Whatever, fine. But this 50-pound girl she has so much skill, and then you find out a little while later that she was trained in the same military as these guys. So why is she so much better than them? I mean, it's like she's a super soldier fighting just regular foot soldiers. Why wouldn't you train everybody to be that good within the army? I mean, she is clearly leagues ahead of these people. Has no armor on. She don't have access to no weapons. These guys are fully armored. They have all kinds of weapons at their disposal, and there's like 10 or 12 of them, and this bitch just goes through them. And it doesn't make sense. Because again, they don't establish, maybe they did and I wasn't paying attention. I will be honest, I wasn't paying attention to a lot of the dialogue because it was just boring. But maybe they established that she has some sort of special training. But even then, I mean, what kind of special training could they give her? This girl looks like she literally weighs 90 pounds. And these guys look like they weigh at least 190 pounds. And they all have assault plasma rifles with them. And this girl just mows through them with a little axe, like a little farming tool. And there's no explanation. Now, from the trailers, I thought maybe she had like some kind of special powers, but no. According to this movie, she's just a soldier who was trained to fight. But for some reason, we're supposed to buy that this 90-pound girl is going to take out these 12 guys who are fully armed with a little pickaxe or a little farming tool, and that's supposed to be believable. So now I'm really drawn out of the story. So the story's going on, and these people get on these little horse, mule, ram things, and they ride them into this town. Now the town that they go to looks like a pretty bad town, like a really devious place. Like the bad guys are here, and this is it's a dangerous place. And it looks like it only takes them a few hours by horse to get to this village, to this community. It's not even a village. It looks like a walled-in town full of just rogues and vagrants and mercenaries and just bad people who will do anything for money, right? So you got this town that's literally if it's only takes a few hours to get there by horse, that means it only takes minutes to get there by ship. And all these guys have access to ships. So this little farming village that's only a few minutes away from this fucking hellhole town, this farming village don't have any defenses to defend themselves from this town. I mean, this is a bad place. It's only a few minutes away by ship. And all these guys have ships. No one has ever gone to the farming village to maybe steal people to sell them into slavery, because now we know that slavery is a thing, because in the next sequence of events there's a slave, so there's slavery. So none of these people go to this little village to recruit slaves, or maybe to rape the women, or even the men, or to steal the crops, steal the grain and resell it. Nobody bothered these people. They're a few minutes away. It's not like they're on the other side of the planet and hidden in some mountains. They're just a farming village. It's just peacefully sitting there while there's some criminals right up the road, practically, by ship. It's just, shit does not make sense in the film. So Now I'm taken out of the movie even more. It's just so many things are happening that just doesn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't these villagers have some way to protect themselves? They know this place is up the road. They don't think to themselves, let's use some of our money to buy some fucking plasma rifles or some swords. Or they got nothing. They have nothing there in this village. They're just walking around in fucking farming clothes, sheets and shit, just going about their business. They don't expect no kind of trouble, even though they live in the fucking galaxy where there's all this shit going on. That shit made no sense. All right, so they go here. Charlie Hunnam decides to join them and help them find people, right? Okay, whatever. So now they go off and they're in this town. So now the story is really just about them recruiting people. And they're recruiting people to bring back to the farming village so that they can defend themselves from this huge military ship full of soldiers when it comes back for the food. So then now they're going off to recruit people. They go to this one place and it's like a stable or something like that, I guess. And they go and they meet up with Turok, the dinosaur hunter, and he's a slave and he's in chains doing some work. And they're like, "Oh, well, we would like to, recruit this guy for our team." And the slave's master is like, "Well, he's my slave. You got to pay me for him. This is my property." And they're like, "Well, we got no money." So you didn't come prepared. I mean, it's not like they're like, "Well, we have a percentage of that, or we have this contingency in place to take care of that. We can offer you this, that." And they're just like, "No, we ain't got nothing. We don't have any plan. We just need him." What they thought the slave master was gonna say? "You got it. Chink chink. Unlock your chains. There you go. Property. Bye. There goes my investment." So, so the farmer's like, "Well, you don't got no money? Well, all right. Well, what is it? Let's place a bet." Okay. They're like, "All right, let's place a bet." He's like, "My slave here, I have like this. They got like a fucking griffin, like a big eagle bear thing." That some men are trying to control like it's a fucking horse, and even though it's a winged griffin, and they're trying to control it. And slave master's like, "Do you think he can control my griffin?" And I'm watching him like, did you? So the only reason he would ask that is if he maybe has a thought that maybe the slave could tame this griffin, this flying beast. So he's your slave. Why didn't you make him do it before? This just hit you now? He has all these men trying to control this thing, and there's something in the back of his head saying that this slave, this property of mine that I own, may be able to tame this beast. Why didn't you try it before? You own him. But whatever. Okay, so he never thought about it before. He just happened to think about it now. Let's make a bet. If he can tame this flying thing, then he's free. I'll let him free, and you can take him. If he can't, then all of you are slaves. And the people are like, "Okay." Oh my God. They don't know this guy from Adam. Never met him. Don't know what he's capable of. Don't know anything about him. They're just like, "Oh, slave, do you think you could do it?" "I think so." "All right." If he fails, yeah, I guess we're slaves. It is so stupid. "What about your mission to save the farming village?" "Fuck it. I've always wanted to be a fucking slave." Let's just throw our lives, place our lives on this stupid, crazy bet. All right, okay. Drawn out of the story even more. Just stupidity upon stupidity. So then the slave is like, "All right, I'm gonna go tame the beast." So Turok, the dinosaur hunter, goes into the fucking pen, whatever you call that shit, with the griffin or whatever this thing. It's a big flying bird mammal thing. And he goes up to it and he starts speaking like fucking Native American. And the bird thing understands him. I'm like, does the griffin speak Native American? It knows this language? So he's talking Native American to it, and the thing starts to calm down. Maybe they were neighbors at some point. And the bird starts to calm down. So Torok jumps on the bird's back, throws this like rope thing that perfectly, it's like a rope with a rock at the end, and somehow the rope thing perfectly wraps around the bird's beak and just stays there. It like locks onto the bird's beak. It's a rope, literally, it's a rope with a rock tied to the end. He like swings it and then throws it at its beak, and it like the ball wraps itself around the beak once, and then it just like stays attached to the bird's beak. Just stays there. And the bird takes off. Dude, Torok has not secured himself in any way to this bird. There's no harness. He's not strapped in. This shit is flying like straight up, straight vertically up, and he's just sitting on the bird's back like nothing. I think the bird does a fucking barrel roll, and Torok is just sitting there as if he's secured to the bird, but he's not. There's no harness or nothing. The bird is just flying. It's a giant bird flying in the sky, and he's not like hanging off of it or falling off. He's just like sitting on his back, like it's running like it's running in a straight line on land. It's flying in the sky wildly. Oh man, so the bird is flying, the bird throws Torok off of his back, Torok hits a rock, and then the bird takes off. It's just, this bird is bigger than an elephant. It has huge wings. The bird is already airborne. It throws him off his back, and then it continues on. Torok gets up off the ground and runs after the bird and catches up to it. You know how fast birds fly? Little birds. Have you ever seen like a finch, a pigeon take off? How fast it can accelerate from one point to the next? This shit is already in mid-flight. Huge ass bird. Already in flight. This guy catches up to it on foot, jumps off of a ledge and lands on its back. And once again, no harness or nothing, completely secure, and they go flying again like it's fucking Atreyu and Falcor in the fucking Neverending Story. I can't believe when I watch these movies, the level of goddamn stupidity in these shits. This shit is, make no fucking sense to me. All right, so that's that scene. So then they go off again, and they're going to recruit the Asian lady from Pacific Rim. I think she was in Pacific Rim with Charlie Hunnam. And that was like his love interest or something like that. She was in other stuff, but I don't fucking remember. She's not very attractive. So then they go to recruit this Asian lady. Dude, I think this was like the funniest part of the movie to me. So they're going to recruit this lady, right? And it's like this casual thing where they're like, all right, there's this other lady we can recruit. And we go to this planet, and there she is. Let's go talk to her. This bitch is in the middle of like a final quest in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. She's going to hunt down a fucking Shelob level spider woman that is a spider with a woman's body on it. And it's like this particular scene looks like it would be like at the end of a fucking movie. And she's just on some like random mission. It's like they caught up to her while she was going to deliver packages or some shit. This bitch is involved in a very dangerous mission. And it's just like, okay, let's go finish your mission and we'll stand here and watch as you finish. Oh my God. So this bitch is going, she confronts Shelob and they have a conversation, and then Shelob attacks her. So the Asian lady has like these two dagger sword things, and Shelob, I think she has some weapon too, and they're fighting. And the Asian lady's doing very well. I'm like, dude, it's a spider. It has 8 legs, and it has a woman's torso attached to it. So it also has 2 arms. I'm like, and the Asian lady is like deflecting all of the attacks. But she's just a regular woman. She's not moving at super speeds. How do you defend yourself with just your 2 arms? Well, she has 2 swords, but what I mean is she just has her 2 arms wielding these swords versus someone that has access to 10 limbs. This shit is towering over you. It can attack you with at least 8 limbs I'll say at least 6. It can attack you with at least 6 at the same time. up to maybe 8. All it needs is 2 legs to balance stand on, and then it's got 6 more spider legs, and the woman it has 2 arms, regular human arms. I'm like, and the fight's going on for a long time. So I'm sitting there like, oh my god, this shit is just so insane. This bitch is successfully defending herself in a one-on-one fight with this giant spider thing that has weapons and arms and a fucking human brain that can think logically and can come up with strategies and shit. And then the people are there to recruit her, so they need this person. Again, remember the urgency of the mission. The last guy they were recruiting, they almost threw their lives away on this stupid fucking bet. So there goes the mission. Now they're here and they need this woman to complete the mission. But the woman's fighting this spider. They're not even helping her. If the spider kills her, why don't you wasted your time? This is not like down the street from Torok's thing. This is another planet. You have to spend time, money, fuel to get to this place. You need to recruit this woman. Why aren't you helping her kill the spider? Try to save her so you can use her later. They just sit casually watching, oh, this bitch might die. We may have come here for no fucking reason. So they're just standing there. This Chinese lady's, or Asian lady, whatever she is, fighting with 2 daggers. And these guys got fucking plasma handguns on their belts. Take off the guns and shoot the spider. Be like, all right, we helped you. Now we need your help. No, they're just like, let's hope she survives. Then the spider starts getting upper hand, and then the Asian lady pulls out lightsabers. Where were the lightsabers all this time? You were just gonna fight this shit with 2 daggers? You got lightsabers. What were you pulling it out at the end for dramatic effect? This is supposed to be a life or death situation. You're just playing around with the spider. Pull out the lightsabers early. Once this thing attacks, pull out the lightsabers. Don't play with some knives. I couldn't believe this shit. Dude, this shit was actually like a comedy. Let's see, what else? Okay. All right, I went over this earlier, so I'm not going to go into it again, but it was just an annoyance watching these pathetic writers just go through the motions of, I should do this, check, do that, check, do this, check, do that, check, turn it in, collect my check, good to go. So, again, I mentioned it earlier, so I'm only going to gloss over it. So this resistance leader, he looks like Lisa Bonet's brother. Him and his sister, who is an actress by the name of Cleopatra Coleman. She's my new favorite actress. She is now the most beautiful woman in Hollywood. Cleopatra Coleman. Go look her up. I hope that's her name. But she plays Lisa Bonet's brother's sister in this movie. So Lisa Bonet's brother is like the leader of this resistance movement, or co-leader, I think. I don't know. And he's trying to rally his troops because he makes a decision to go and help with this mission. So he tries to rally his troops. He gives the speech. They're playing the music. The music is just swelling, and it's trying to grip at your heartstrings. And he's saying all these words, which I didn't even hear one word of it because I'm not paying attention at this point. And they're going through all of this, and I'm sitting there like, I don't care. This scene is irrelevant. It's not doing anything because I literally just met this guy and these soldiers. I don't know anything about them. I don't care if they come on this trip. I don't care if they die on the trip. I don't care if they stay behind because I don't know them. I don't even really know the urgency of this mission. So I don't feel that because of the writing. So I don't care. You just wasted your time going through these steps. So they rally him. He rallies some of the people. They go with him, and then now they're off. And then what's the next thing that I had a problem with? So then they go off, and another thing I had an issue with is this guy, the bad guy. He's traveling from place to place, like just smacking people around like they're nothing. None of these planets have defense systems in place. And throughout this whole movie, no one even tries to fight this guy back. Nobody. He goes to this planet, and on the planet there is the Mon Calamari king. And the king is like, we've been here for like, I think he said 10,000 years or some shit like that. And I'm like, you've been here for 10,000 years. You know about threats that live out there in the galaxy that operate. And you guys have never built like a turret? You don't have no kind of self-defense system? Like a bazooka? Do you guys have like at least swords? These people, dude, the people in this galaxy are so pathetic and weak that the bad guy's just like walking around killing people with a stick. He don't even bother using a gun. Cause he has like a walking stick made out of a bone, and he just beats people to death with it. Because the people are so weak and pathetic. I guess he's like, look, I don't even need to protect myself. This guy walks around in a fucking dress shirt with a suit tie. He don't even wear armor. Oh my gosh. Again, that's just shitty writing. It shit does not make sense. You have people that have had civilizations around for millennia, and they don't have weapons. They don't try to defend themselves. They know that there's a threat. Even if you're a peaceful planet, you know there's a threat. Why don't you have any self-defense system? You could live in a fucking dome. These people just live. I don't even know where the people lived on that planet because there was like floating rocks, and you only meet one of the damn members of citizens on the planet or inhabitants of the planet. You just meet the king who gets beaten to death with the stick. So I don't know where they lived, but there was no like defense system. They didn't live in like an iron dome. They didn't have like a force field. Nothing. Oh my god. Oh, it's just this. It's stuff that these writers. I can't even explain it. You have to be a cocksucking moron to write some of these stories. They don't like reread the story and then say, oh, this is missing or this doesn't make sense. I literally think these people just write just like one draft, and because they're in these unions and they're well connected and they're sucking the right cock, they're like, oh, here, it doesn't really matter if it's good or not because I'm going to get paid anyway and I'm going to get a job again anyway. So it doesn't fucking matter. They just pen one draft. There you go. That's what you asked for. You asked for some action and some woman empowerment and shit. There, it's all in there. Some men who are just shitty. Here. There's some politically correct messaging. There you go. Done. Give me my fucking check and call me when my next job comes up. These stories are just so stupid. So, all right. So then they go and Charlie Hunnam is like turns on them and somehow. So all right, so let me. So the 7 people you find out are all like people of significance. All of them have like bounties on their heads. They're so valuable because they're like all important. And Charlie Hunnam has been suggesting these people because he's been trying to rally them up and then sell them as I collected all these people for you, all these bounties. Give me some money. That was the best part of the movie because I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, I guess. Something so mundane. It was so cool because the rest of the story is such a piece of shit. But so you find out that he's been collecting all these people. So they trap them, and they have like these mechanical scorpion-looking things that kind of lock you in. It's kind of like a handcuff system for the whole body. And all of them are captured. And the bad guy is there in his dress shirt and suit tie and slacks, no armor or nothing. And he has all these fucking soldiers. All these soldiers. He has like this other big, gigantic ship that's like just sitting there in the sky that has its cannons aimed down. All these soldiers are around, fully armored. Some of them even got helmets without goggles. Like, that's like, how can you see through that? Even their faces are covered. They got assault rifles, plasma assault rifles. All of them got weapons and armor. And there's a whole bunch of them. And you got these 7 people, and they're locked up. And then Charlie Hunnam gives, for some reason, the guy that was helping. So remember in the farming village, there was well, maybe nobody saw this, hopefully. But there was a guy in the farming village in the very beginning who went with Sophia on her trip. And for some reason, they don't lock up that guy, even though he's been with them this whole time. He's not really worth anything, so I guess they're not trying to capture him. But they don't even try to kill him. They just let him stand there. And then Charlie Hunnam gives him like this weapon that he's supposed to use to cripple the Sophia. So she's trapped and they want to cripple these people so that they can't escape and do any harm. So they're going to put this thing into the contraption and then pull a trigger and it'll sever their spinal cord or something like that. So instead of one of the soldiers doing it or the head bad guy or Charlie Hunnam, who is a traitor, instead of them doing it, Charlie Hunnam gives the gun to this girl's friend. And the head bad guy doesn't say nothing. None of the soldiers say, why are we giving this guy the fucking key to the locking system? Nobody says, hey, that's kind of a bad idea. What the fuck are you doing? Nobody says nothing. So Charlie Hunnam gives it to the friend. The friend, instead of shooting her, unlocks the mechanism that she's in, freeing her. So she's free. Okay. This girl is wearing like some pants, regular cloth pants, like a flowing cloth shirt. I think the shirt is sleeveless. Basically, she has no armor at all. No armor, no weapons. She gets out of the contraption, gets her hand on a weapon. None of you heard what I said earlier about all the soldiers with all the plasma assault rifles, not plasma handguns, assault rifles in their hands. None of them are able to hit her. Nobody's able to. None of these trained soldiers are able to hit this one target. She takes out it looks like 10 of them in one shot. And then somehow, I don't even remember how it happens, all the other good guys get unlocked from their mechanism. They're all free now. Okay, so they're all free and they're doing the stupid bullshit generic action thing. And Lisa Bonet's brother, the resistance leader, he's angry because that big ship that I told you was sitting in the sky with the cannons aimed down at them, that ship has been blowing up all of the heroes' ships, their little dogfighting ships, blowing them up. And killing the pilots who are the members of this resistance party that Lisa Bonet's brother is the leader of. So he's angry. He's like, you've been killing my followers. So he grabs like a spear and he's like running slowly and clumsily up this ramp to the ship. Okay? He jumps and tries to stab the pilot of the ship through the cockpit window. So he stabs through the cockpit window. The pilot just quickly moves his head to the right and he misses. Then the pilot just pulls out a gun and starts shooting him. Lisa Bonet's brother does successfully stab the pilot eventually, and then he succumbs to his wound and he dies. What was funny about that is this is a ship that looks like it travels through space. And you're traveling through space, you have to move at incredible speeds to get through space. Getting through atmosphere, the thickness of the glass has to be, of any window, any see-through surface has to be very thick because it has to withstand all this force. Yet this one man is able to stab a jagged spear through and shatter the glass. Oh my... I'm like, what kind of... Is this like just a regular window from someone's house that was attached to this ship? Then he kills the pilot. The pilot dies, and the resistance leader grabs like the fucking whatever, the control stick, and pulls it down so that the ship is gonna fall out of the sky and crash. And the ship falls out of the sky and crashes. But again, this is a huge ship. This is a military operation, and this is a huge ship. This ship only got one pilot. There's only one person piloting this huge ship. And then the cockpit is like on the left side of the ship. It's like, you have to see it to understand what I'm talking about. But there's only one pilot. There's no backup pilot. There's nobody that could enter the cockpit and grab the stick and right the ship and correct it, keep it from crashing. This shit is like, these movies are like comedies. They're written so poorly. So the ship crashes out of the sky, and then the main bad guy has a fight with Sophia, and she beats him up real bad. And then she like throws him off of a cliff, and he survives. He survives, and then the heroes go back to the farming village for some unknown reason. I would have been like, look, we accomplished the mission, so why the fuck are we going with her to the village? I have places to be. Even Torok, who you find out is like a prince who was kidnapped and turned into a slave, even was he just gonna live at the village? I'm a farmer now. The Asian lady who's like this well known assassin, she's just gonna go to this. What are they gonna do there? Are they gonna wait for the? That's another thing. What was their plan all along? Was her plan to gather 7 people, and the 7 of them was going to destroy this entire ship full of armed soldiers? Even if they were able to do that, which I don't know how, they didn't. It's not like they concocted a plan, came up or brought any weapons or had anything at their disposal that you knew would be able to take these things out, or that they even recruited someone that had like superpowers or something. No, it was just 7 people. We're gonna wait for the ship to come back, and then they were gonna use swords, I guess, and some handguns, and take out a whole multiple military platoons who were all armored, trained, and were in a ship that could just literally shoot at them from orbit and kill them from there. That was their plan. Let's say they were successful and they beat all of these people. Did they not think that the military leaders that are responsible, or that the head generals over this platoon wouldn't come and try to get revenge? They were gonna just stay in this farming village and keep taking on wave after wave after wave after wave after wave after wave of this army people? Shit makes no sense. So they go to this village and they're just sitting there and they're talking, and I guess they're gonna stay there. And then, obviously, as you're watching the movie, you realize this is like, dude, not only does the story suck semen out of cock, but the writer is not only a shitty writer, but they're lazy. You're gonna steal from another story and blatantly steal from another story. This was what, 7 Samurai in space? I'm watching this shit. I'm like, dude, this is 7 Samurai. What? They even recruit 7 people. They can't even recruit 6 or 8 or 9. No, 7. We're gonna steal a story from 7 Samurai, which has been done in the past. Magnificent Seven. Magnificent Seven is really like just a American version, American love letter to 7 Samurai. No, this was just supposed to be a completely different thing, but it's not. It's just 7 Samurai in space. I don't. Oh God, I can't get over these. I can't get over these stories. So this was just completely bad. The effects weren't horrible, but they weren't good enough to even look at that and say, well, that's makes the story okay. No, the effects were bad. The effects sucked. The story sucked. The acting sucked. The pacing sucked. Everything sucked. The choreography was not relevant or even good. It's Zack Snyder, so he's doing that fucking slow motion thing for things that don't need. I think she like tripped somebody, and the motion of him falling to the ground was what he decided to put in slow motion. Yeah. I think he's just like having fun at this point and laughing at people. He's like, look, I'm collecting a check. I'm just going to do this for shits and giggles now and see what people say. And it's fun for him. Because he doesn't try to change his style. Zack Snyder is just a shitty filmmaker in every sense of the word. He can't produce a good film, direct a good film, and he can't preside over the writing of a good film or pick a good story. He's just shit in every way. And these kinds of movies show that. The only reason these movies get any kind of credit from anyone is because they have so much money pumped into it. So things are going to look competent, even good. And unfortunately, the masses of people are so fucking stupid that as long as the movie has stars in it, and as long as the movie looks competent or it looks good, people are going to be like, great, that was good. I'm going to go see another one they make later. I think Zack Snyder should get together with the Wachowski brothers and they should make a movie together. It would be so bad that it would probably destroy time itself. Because watching this movie, it made me feel like I was watching Jupiter Ascending. It's just like these really bad, these people are so full of themselves that they just sit down and write complete schlock. And they think that the schlock dog shit garbage that they're writing is going to be so inspiring and so new and unique. And it's not. It's not. You wrote schlock. You wrote garbage. And they don't know any better because all the people around them are probably lying to them, blowing smoke up their asses, and they keep getting these high-paying jobs, so why would they think that the shit that they make is actual shit? They think it's good. People are telling them it's good, and people are paying them for it. So they think it's good. But somebody has to sit these people down and be like, dude, you're garbage. You're a garbage creator. You should go and work at Hardee's. Zack Snyder would probably be good at, making music videos or making like short, episodic things maybe, or I don't know, I don't know, because really 300 was I'd say 300 was a great film. I'll say that. It was a great film. Because Zack Snyder's style, the only style that he has, the only thing that he's capable of doing, it worked well for that type of story and for what was done with that story. But other than that, oh boy, this isn't a movie that you watch it for fun, because it's not so bad that it's funny. It's just so bad that it's depressing. It's a boring movie. And what's funny is that they made this movie, and then they're making a part 2. It's weird doing that because you don't know how the first one's going to be received. You're already working on a part 2, so now this movie, which is being received poorly, is getting a sequel. Who cares about the sequel? I don't even think I'll watch the sequel for fun because this was such an uninspiring and boring movie. This movie could have been, I don't know what this movie could have been, because the story itself, the characters are boring and not interesting. I thought when I saw the trailer that this girl had some access to, she was like some chosen one. I thought it was going to be like a Star Wars ripoff or something where she was a chosen one and she had access to some abilities, which would have made things make a little bit more sense, that she's just beating the shit out of all these people and that she thinks she can take on an entire army with just 6 other people. But that wasn't the case. Other than that, I didn't really know what this was. I thought maybe it might be a decent science fiction thing. He's writing his own story. So I figured, well, if Zack Snyder's writing his own thing, which I shouldn't have thought that because I think he did Sucker Punch and that sucked. But I figured, he has such a bad time adapting other stories. Maybe he just needs to focus on making his own thing and he'll make something that fits his style. Not only did this not fit whatever style I thought he had, or whatever style he used for 300, not only did it not fit that, but the story was just complete garbage. So many stupid things going on, things moving at such a fast pace. You're just jumping from one planet to the next. You don't even establish these certain planets and what they are, what things or what beings live there. It's just you're jumping from place to place. And then you're at the end. And then you're at the conflict at the end. And you recruiting these characters. And again, stories like Seven Samurai, you don't spend a long time learning about these characters, but you spend a little time with them traveling with each other. And there's dialogue. There is dialogue where they sit back and talk. And so you're able to glean a little bit about each of these characters from their conversations that they have with each other, from the dialogue that's written into the story. These stories don't have that type of dialogue. They have lines written to try to move the story forward, but there's no real dialogue with the characters amongst each other. The only dialogue that you had was between Sophia and Charlie Hunnam on the ship. That was I think that was really all. I mean, we had some dialogue in the beginning, but you had dialogue for characters that weren't relevant, like the dialogue between Sophia and the guy that adopted her. We don't really interact with him much. He's not that important to the story or the cast, so that was a waste of time. We needed dialogue between these other people where they're talking about who they are, what they are, where they came from, why they're where they are, and all. They didn't want to do that because they wanted to save it for that stupid surprise towards the end where Charlie Hunnam reveals that all of these people are actually important bounties. So that's why you didn't get dialogue, but that hurt the story. You have to figure out something else. Instead of trying to get this one little shock value thing in this one scene, make a good story. Make us care about the characters. Make us like the characters. I don't like these characters because not only are they written into stupid scenarios that are nonsensical, and so it makes me shrug my shoulders and roll my eyes at the scene, but I don't know them, so I don't care about them. I don't know anything about them. I don't know what drives them, what they're afraid of, what their motivation is. I have no idea. These people were joining up with this woman. I didn't even know why. Why would they go with her? Hi, I need you to help me protect these people from this military force that has been around for a long time. It's not like this is a new threat. This is a part of life. This military group that you never even tried to fight before, I need you to fight with me now. You don't know me, don't know anything about me or my one little village the one village that has been attacked, or one a group of people that has been attacked out of millions of groups of people. I want you to care about me and this village. And they're like, okay, I'll go with you. The only person whose motivation I kind of understood was the general, who was played by Dimon Hanzu. I forget how to pronounce his name. He was the only one who you kind of, and then that was just like quickly thrown in bullshit. You want revenge? Yes, I do. Okay, let's go. Okay, there was no motivation. There were no fears. Talked about nothing about their history. Nothing to explain these characters. So I don't know them, and so I don't care about them. So I don't care about anything that's going on in the story. By the time you get to the end, you've just been moving so fast through this shit that I just want it to end. And I don't really care about a sequel because I don't care about what happens to them. I don't care if I ever see them again. None of them were even interesting, and they had an opportunity to, because the assassin lady, the Asian lady, was an assassin. That would have been a cool character. I wouldn't wanted to know more about her. The general, I would like to know his backstory. Even Torok, wouldn't mind learning where he came from and how he became a slave, and maybe he's like a D&D ranger or something, or a druid, and he could talk to animals and shit. So maybe if you threw some of that in there, maybe flashbacks to something in their life, instead of spending so much time in the beginning in this stupid bullshit village, spend some time on the backstories of these people. You let us know who these characters are. Let us fall in love with these characters and care about them. That way, even if this movie it doesn't hit all the numbers, we may be so invested in the characters and care about them so much and like them so much that we'll stick around for a sequel, because now I want to know where these characters are going next. I want to know what happens to them. I want to maybe see what they're capable of. But you kind of wasted that too, because you already saw them in an action scene, but not saw them in an action. Don't waste your time watching this. This isn't fun to watch. You won't laugh. I'm laughing now going through it because it's just comical looking back. But it's not fun or funny while watching the stupidity and bullshit in the story. It's not inspiring and it's boring. So what's the sense of watching it? If you can watch it for free, don't waste your time. There's so many other things that you could be doing out there. You could go outside and sort through garbage, or you could eat glass. That would be better than watching this movie. So do not, this was supposed to be like the movie of the year, end of the year, movie of the year. And then you watch it and you're like, God damn, I hate Zack Snyder. So don't watch this. Netflix, you can go fuck yourselves. You've had a couple hits recently. This was a huge miss. And don't